what else happened here, and we'll talk about why after we run the clips, was a talk about interventionism and the strength of the U.S. military that would unquestionably fit in at any Republican convention. 2012, certainly going back to our cognitive lifetime, starting in 1980, or I suspect later in your lifetime. Let's listen to a little bit of Hillary's muscle flexing and saber rattling.
Anyone reading the news can see the threats and turbulence we face, from Baghdad to Kabul to Nice and Paris and Brussels, from San Bernardino to Orlando. We're dealing with determined enemies that must be defeated. So it's no wonder that people are anxious and looking for reassurance, looking for steady leadership, wanting a leader who understands we are stronger when we work with our allies around the world and care for our veterans here at home. Keeping our nation safe and honoring the people who do that work will be my highest priority. I'm proud that we put a lid on Iran's nuclear program without firing a single shot. Now we have to enforce it, and we must keep supporting Israel's security.
So there, you got a little of it there. Let's go right to number 11 and more from Hillary Clinton on the military.
And I'm proud to stand by our allies in NATO against any threat they face, including from Russia. I've laid out my strategy for defeating ISIS. We will strike their sanctuaries from the air and support local forces taking them out on the ground. We will surge our intelligence so we detect and prevent attacks before they happen. We will disrupt their efforts online to reach and radicalize young people in our country. It won't be easy or quick, but make no mistake, we will prevail.
A little bit more. America's strength, Hillary said, doesn't come from lashing out. Strength relies on smarts, judgment, cool resolve, and the precise and strategic application of power. That's the kind of commander-in-chief I pledge to be. Donald Trump says, and this is a quote, "I know more about ISIS than the generals do." No, Donald, you don't. He thinks he knows more than our military because he claimed our armed forces are a disaster. Our military is a national treasure. We entrust our commander-in-chief to make the hardest decisions our nation faces, decisions about war and peace, life and death. I wanted to include that part because I think what Hillary, what the Democrats did, because it was not just Hillary. The president did it, Joe Biden did it. It happened all week. This was a rare opportunity where Trump made the mistake of saying, "I can fix this alone," and he called the military a disaster. And Democrats saw a political opening that they never get, which is to all of a sudden seize the Reagan mantle of morning in America, not just morning in America, but the defense of America and protecting America. And that hasn't really, they've tried, and John Kerry tried, as it turns out, very ineffectively in 2004. But for 36 years, Democrats have struggled with this. And I think they saw this opportunity and thought, well, we are going to pound away on this, because that enabled this convention to reach out to disaffected Republicans. And we already know 151 signers, Republican national security experts and longtime people who had worked in Republican administrations in national security, signing a letter which essentially said, "You can't work for this guy, you can't elect this guy." So I think she's reaching out there, and then turned around and gave a pretty liberal back half of the speech. So depending on which part resonated more with you, I saw conservatives say, "I can't believe they stole national security from us." A lot of respected conservatives in my Twitter feed yesterday. And then a few who were like, "I was really digging this convention and it was a great convention," but then I was reminded, oh wait, they're tax and spend liberals and I can't possibly vote for them. I'm not going to vote for Trump, but I can't vote for her. So I think that part was effective, but still, this is not what you expect from a Democratic president, and if you were concerned about Hillary's hawkishness before, based on her record as Secretary of State and the early part of this campaign, you were not assuaged last night in any way.
Two things.
Yeah.
A, she's always projected that hawkishness, and this goes back to the cautious lawyer thing, because she thinks they're going to say I'm weak because I'm a woman and I'm a liberal. So I'm going to project this out there. But when it comes to her speech, I mean, the criticism from Trump will be fairly easy if she says, you know, ISIS is running amok and we need to work with our allies. And Trump will be like, you mean like our NATO allies, Turkey, that operationally supported ISIS for the last 3 years, or our allies, Saudi Arabia, that gave your, you know, foundation $50 or $60 million and have also funded ISIS and provided the theological foundations and everything else for it. I mean, it goes both ways. I mean, the easiest argument from her is, I mean, you asked Vladimir Putin to hack our government and
Right.
influence our election. I mean, when you think, has any presidential candidate ever come close to doing that before?
I think that was, yeah, and the Democrats did a nice job of turning the focus on the DNC leaks to Russia pretty quickly, but as I think the focus should be, as opposed to internal political emails that if it was hacked by Russia, which I, of course, like I think many of us thought that was just a bit of misdirection and absurd, and then 12 hours later...
I didn't.
turns
If
out-
you'll remember, about 3 months ago, I brought it up on Young Turks.
No, you're...
And everyone said I was fucking crazy for saying it.
I don't think you're crazy. I think you're smarter than everybody. But I still can't quite believe that it turned out to be true. It just seems so
bizarre.
outlandish that it turned out to be true. But Hillary is more hawkish than Obama.
Do you think she was wrong though to do that? I mean, to bring that up in that way. 'Cause
Which
I guess the things that she was saying about the military, because there was from the right. It's not like it's legitimate, but from the right, they were saying that they felt like there was no mention of ISIS and all the fear mongering that they were doing at their convention, that they were criticizing the left for not bringing it up at all. So I thought at
Trump
least
said she never mentioned radical Islam.
right, and so I think that at least in that way they brought it up in that democratic way. They brought it up, but not just beating a dead horse.
I
Well,
think-
she,
okay,
right,
sorry.
and she. I was just going to say she brought it up with some specific strategy, if you will. I mean, you know, so it wasn't just a broad stroke on it. I was playing off the lack of the ISIS mentions early on in sort of a thematic way. That is to say, the theme of the prior nights hadn't been national security from the standpoint of terrorism. Maybe it should have been. I don't know. You can argue that, but it hadn't been. So
Right.
I thought that was a bad bust on the Democrats that the GOP was going for. Here, I thought she did it well. And look, to Wes's point, they're going to score some body blows on each other during the course of the general election. And on defense, they'll go back and forth on that ally thing. But-
Although, in all fairness to Clinton, you know, the Clintons did support soldiers' families and veterans and everything else when it comes to health care and when you come back and stuff like that, whereas the Republicans generally have not.
And
Yeah.
Trump is all show and no go on
yeah,
the veterans.
seriously.
I mean, my
yeah.
God.
I went to like military school when I was 14. Yeah, I know the military.
I think
Even when he has a benefit
break.
for the veterans, they don't get the money.
But part of the criticism of Hillary, one of the criticisms today in Politico was that the speech lacked a central theme. And
Her speech,
her speech did, and I think it did lack a central theme because there was an attempt to appeal to two different groups in that same speech.
I don't think it lacked a central theme.
I
at
don't
all.
think so either.
I mean, I think the central theme was you can't elect this guy,
Right.
Which is
Right.
but that's not an idea theme.
I think her theme was I've been here, I've been doing this, and here's what we're going to do going forward. And by the way, this would also be super historic. But I think that was sort of the theme of the night. What was just a reminder to everyone, she's been working for progressive causes for decades. And that's kind of what she did in her speech, and then was like, this is what I've done, and this is what I'm going to do, which I thought was a central theme.
I think it's very.
I totally agree.
Yeah?
100%. The theme was, I know what I'm doing. It's like if she could have said it a little shorter and faster, like, okay, the United States is an airplane, and there may be some engine trouble. And do you want me, the pilot, to land the plane?
Yeah.
Or do you want the guy in row 3G who's pissed off and screaming and yelling?
probably
And who's never flown a plane?
Who's
before.
never flown a plane, but he once paid for someone to
Yeah.
fly a plane.
Yeah.
Do you want him to land you?
Yeah.
I thought it was very effective, potentially effective. Mostly, I don't know it was effective. I thought it was interesting. Let me leave it at that because I don't know what I'm talking about. But it's interesting that in the same speech, I have not remembered the Democrats able to reach out to people, to national security voters, while at the same time reaching out to people who want $15 an hour. as a minimum wage.
I thought Obama did when he ran.
But he didn't. He wasn't nearly as hawkish as she is. Didn't sound as hawkish. I mean, we're
He's been
not
hawkish as hell as a
I was going
president.
to say, he struck me as a bit hawkish. I
didn't think in the speeches he has. I don't know. I mean, we live in a world where he was less hawkish than he certainly could have been, or he didn't go to war with Iran. He didn't invade Syria. Right. There were a bunch of things that he didn't do.
Yeah, but at the same time,
he ran. I'm
we've
sure in
got
his first
the
4 years, he
military
ran
all over the world, and we're dropping bombs on people.
We're using
from
drones
fucking
that are killing civilians.
And Hillary Clinton is unquestionably, there's no person who knows them both or has studied them both, whether it's someone close to them or a reporter, who doesn't think Hillary Clinton is more hawkish than Barack Obama. But also, again, don't fall into the trap of thinking that because Donald Trump says he was against the Iraq War from the beginning and blames Hillary for letting the situation go to hell in Syria and wants to cut ties around the world with our NATO allies, that somehow Donald Trump is less hawkish. Donald Trump has talked about how he wants to torture, and before he announced his run for president, frequently talked about how we need to get in there and kick ass.
And kill people's families.
Kill people's families all over the world. Donald Trump is far more hawkish than Hillary. They are both disappointingly hawkish. But I thought interesting to reach out both to the right and the left in the same speech. And done effectively, and normally Democrats can't do that. Trump opened a door that clearly, because I heard it in other speeches too. We talked a lot about the military, that's all. And mostly in criticizing Trump, but for 4 days of pounding away at how great the U.S. military was, that is not what you usually hear in a Democratic convention speech. They took advantage of an opportunity. We'll see whether it cashes in, how many Republicans swing over and vote for her.